Okay, so this is going to be another look at one more tool, and then we will start our process of designing our bridge. So we're going to make a couple of the members that we need to use. So we grab our rectangle tool, we're going to take this to the origin and go 6, 6. And we know that that's going to be very, very small, so we can just wind that back, grab our hand tool, keep the origin in the middle, 2 fingers on the mouse pad, drag them down, and there's our 6x6 box. And we are going to drag this out. I'm going to make these, let's make these 200. So that's 200. And we're going to say enter, and let's look from the side. And we'll make that a group, this one. So triple click, right click, make group. And then we will go back to the front view, and we will make another box, 6, 6, and we will drag that one out with the push-pull tool. To 200 as well. So we have 2 beams, and this one we will make into a component. So we now have 2 beams, one's a group, one's a component. So we'll probably use this bottom one. We'll pretend this is the bottom chord of a truss that we're going to design for a bridge. And we will, let's rotate ourselves around, get the orbit tool here. Keep calling that the rotate tool. It's actually the orbit tool. It orbits the view. So we now have our grouped member and our component. So did I make that into a component? That we made that into a, now I can't even remember what I did. Oh yeah, so we made that into a group. This one we're going to make into a component. So we'll triple click and we'll say make component, and we're going to call this a truss member, and go OK. So now I'm going to show you a tool that we haven't used yet. If I wanted to change the angle of this so that it was at 45 degrees, say we wanted to build a triangular truss on this bottom chord here, well, we can take the tool that we've already used and we can say I wanted, let's just zoom in a bit, say I wanted this to go from that point there until the 50 millimeter. So we'll take that out. Now this is 200 millimeters long, so we're going to say 50. And we type 50 in and enter. So we now know that that line is at 50 centimeters. So now I'm going to take my, and then let's make another one at 100, so that they're 50 apart. So you get my hand tool so we can see what we're doing. So I'm going to grab my tape measure again, put it on the midpoint, click once, drag out, and this time we're going to go 100, enter, boom. So now, if we zoom back out, you've got a line at 50 and a line at 100. So, why am I doing all of this? Well, because I'm now going to take our truss member, which is a component, and I'm going to change the angle of it so it's 45 degrees. So we're going to use a tool called the rotate tool, and you can see that it's here. That's where we find that tool. So now if I grab this and you can see that it changes. This would change in the horizontal. We want to get it so that it changes red. Now once it changes to the angle that you want, you can hold down the shift key and it'll lock it in that plane. Okay, so I'm going to click once and then I'm going to move along and then I'm going to click again. And then I'm going to move it up. You can see it's moving up. And in the bottom right hand corner you can see angle. I'm going to type in 45 and go enter. So that's now at 45 degrees. And then I'm going to change that rotate tool back to a move tool. So now we're in the move tool. So now what I'm going to do is, well, the first thing I want to do is I want to cut this end off. Okay, so we know it's a component. That's not a problem. We'll jump up here to the select tool and we'll double click. Then we'll grab our pen tool and we'll grab that corner there and go back up to here on the edge. And then we'll grab our push pull tool and we will push that back. And it's gone. And now what we're going to do is, it's all about the view you can see too. So we'll grab our orbit tool, we'll rotate this around because I want to place this beam on the end of this one here. So how am I going to do that? Well, I will grab my move tool and I will come over, oh sorry, that's not my move tool, that's my select tool. What are you doing? I'm going to grab my move tool, which is that one there, move, and I'm going to grab that corner there and I'm going to drag it, go Control Z, let's get, grab the whole thing. I've triple clicked on that now, so hopefully when I move it, it moves as a complete object. Let's see if I am correct. Yep, we drag it over here, and when we get to the end point there, we let go. Let's just see if it's actually joined in the correct place. Yes, it has. Okay, so that's how it worked out well for us. Now I'm just going to click outside. And I want to get another beam that comes down here. So I want to copy this beam here. So what do? I click on this so it goes all blue. And then we get our move tool. We go over here, hold down Control. This is a copy. Then click with the mouse and then drag ourselves out. So this is great, but it's facing the wrong way. So what am I going to do? I need to rotate this around, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. Okay, so first thing is first, I might just drag this over and see if I can place it on the edge here. Let's not worry about that. Let's get our rotate tool first, and let's spin this around. And I want to spin this around on the horizontal plane. So I grab my rotate. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. And see how it's facing flat down on the ground now? I'm going to hold down Shift so it locks in that position. If I don't hold down Shift, watch what happens. It's going to jump around and go red and then blue. So I want to hold it in that position. So I hold down Shift. I jump up here into this part of the beam. I go click once, go straight across, click again, and then I'm going to want to rotate 180 degrees. So what I can do is I can type in 180 and go enter. And now it's spun the way I wanted it to. So then I go back to my orbit tool and we can have a look at where we're at. And I want to get this up against that. So I'm going to grab my move tool. So I've got to switch from rotate to move. And actually I'm just going to get this so I can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to grab move, grab this corner here, and I want it to sit on that point there at that intersection. So let's just rotate around and make sure that looks like it should, and it does. So we've now got our beam where we want it, but we've got a lot of excess truss member that we don't want. We don't want all this stuff up the top here. So how are we going to get rid of that? Well, you watch this. Because we made this into a component, and the one that's selected at the moment is this blue one, what we can do is keep zooming in and out. We can rotate. Let's zoom in a little bit. Let's get this in the center by using our hand tool so we can see what we're doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to double click. So we'll click outside. We're going to double click this member here. We're going to grab our pen tool and we're going to go select here and select here. And then we're going to grab our push pull tool. Now this is where the magic happens. Watch what happens when I cut this beam. It cuts them both. Now, I didn't join these very well, but you can see now that this is the beginning of a truss bridge. So for this exercise, we used our tape measure tool again, which we looked at in the last video. We used our components, and when we changed one component, it changed them both. So we are well on the way to being able to design a bridge.